Lost in the darkness, searching for a way. Addiction had its grip, I couldn't find the light of day. But then I found the path of healing, holistic and divine. Connecting with my spirit journey, that was mine. Goodbye, Annie, that was funny, that was mine. We talk about everything. Some of it might piss you off, but you're here for a reason. Let's heal and never stop. Through tarot, Reiki, stones, and light language, we'll find our way. Herbal therapy, meditation, sound healing every single day. Expansion of spiritual gifts, a magical experience. Connected to the source, our souls in perfect resonance. Sharing with our tribe, they show us what we need to become the best versions. Our spirits we will feed. So like, share and subscribe. Join us on this path. Healing, growing, learning. Let's face life's aftermath. Together we will rise. Our souls will soar so high. Connecting with the divine. Our spirits never die.
Good morning. It is Thursday, and I know. I said I wasn't gonna be here, but I am. And today it is very important for us to listen to everything that is at 144 on the clock. This is a form of protection for us. Listen.
We talk about everything. Some of it might piss you off, but you're here for a reason. Let's heal and never stop. Through tarot, Reiki, stones, and light language, we'll find our way. Herbal therapy, meditation, sound healing every single day.
Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. Now, today we are going to begin with something nice and sweet. Listen, Linda. All right, so I am going to ask you to do me one favor, please. Today is Thursday. And I'm asking you today to please choose to drink something that has no alcohol in it. It is still my birthday month, and I just celebrated 5 years of no alcohol. 303. So I'm not asking you to do anything that I haven't already done. Now, let's talk about kids for a minute. They are the future of our lives, and they are in need of our assistance. The leading cause of death among teenagers ages 15 to 19 in the United States is accidents or unintentional injuries, primarily motor vehicle crashes and drug overdoses, poisonings. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in 2022, the rate of deaths from accidents or unintentional injuries among teens aged 15 to 19 was 22 per 100,000. Within this category, motor vehicle crashes accounted to 55% of these deaths, while poisoning and drug overdoses made up 31%. However, recent data indicates that firearm-related injuries have become the leading cause of death among children and adolescents ages 1 to 19 in the U.S. Specifically, in 2021, firearms were involved in 4,733 deaths of children and teens, surpassing motor vehicle accidents as the top cause. The second and third leading causes of death among teens ages 15 to 19 in 2022 were homicides, 13 per 100,000, and suicides, 10 per 100,000, respectively. It's important to note that while accidents have historically been the leading cause of teen deaths, the rise in firearm-related deaths, particularly from assaults, has led to a concerning shift in recent years. The drugs that are most commonly involved in teen overdose and deaths as of 2024 are opioid painkillers, prescription drugs like Vicodin, Oxycontin, synthetic opioids like fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine. Prescription opioid painkillers and synthetic opioids like fentanyl are major contributors to the rise in drug overdose deaths among teenagers in recent years. Fentanyl, in particular, is described as driving a surge in overdose due to its potency and presence in illicit drug supplies. Yesterday, I posted a video about how they're putting, and I told you guys like months ago that this was happening, and everybody laughed in my face. They're putting the fentanyl in the weed now, okay? You have to be careful, and there needs to be testing done to make sure that you're not the next one when it comes to getting your weed. So, unfortunately for the street folk out there, um, and even if you're passing, people can dip into your weed from delivery person and flower shop, but fortunately at the flower shops, they're going to be less likely to do that. Which is going to mean that instead, but I truly believe I'm going off the subject here for a minute, but hold on. I truly believe that instead of worrying about continuing to criminalize weed, which has killed nobody, that you criminalize these pharmacies that are churning over millions and trillions of dollars, killing our future babies. Now, let me continue. Stimulants like cocaine and methamphetamine are also highlighted as commonly abused drugs by teens that can lead to overdose. While not as prevalent as opioids, their use among adolescents remains a concern. Did you hear that? Stimulants like cocaine and methamphetamine are also highlighted as commonly abused drugs by teens that can lead to overdose. While not as prevalent as opioids, our kids are dying because we can't talk our government into shutting down these pharmacies. Are you serious right now? Like, our kids aren't dying. You can't die off of meth. Listen, you can take the biggest fucking shot off of methamphetamine and you will just spin the fuck out for days and not be able to go to sleep. Like with weed, you can smoke all the fucking weed you want to. When you smoke, when you get to a certain level, you'll fall asleep, wake up, and smoke again. But you're not gonna die. That's the one thing I can't say. Meth and weed, you're not gonna die off of those two. It's when you mix the other shit off of it. Like a lot of people, they thought they could use meth to get off the opioids. A lot of people, they exchange meth for, if they don't have any opioids, they use the meth. Um, I'm not promoting in any way. As you can tell, I'm trying to get people off this shit. But I'm just saying, like, our biggest problem is these pharmaceutical companies. And they are literally wearing Gucci and Prada while you're burying your children and not giving two shits about it. The results also mention other substances like marijuana, inhalants, and hallucinogens being used by teens, but not directly link them to high rates of overdose deaths. The primary drug causing teen overdose fatalities appear to be opioids and stimulants as of 2024. Now, what I'm about to show you, you need to be prepared for. You're going to need some tissues. I'm certain of it. But it is absolutely necessary to put this in your face right now. It is Thirsty Thursday. And our future for our children is dying. So, ladies, since Thursday is also deemed as Ladies' Night, and we, even when we don't have children or mothers, Gaia is speaking and requesting 103233 that we take time to listen to our children because they're crying instead of spending time drinking and whining. You ready? Like, what the fuck is she about to show us? Huh.
Just what he thought was a Percocet pill from Snapchat, and that was the evening of a school night. Rhonda had the unfortunate event of going in to wake him up, as her routine is, at 6:30 in the morning on a Wednesday, and found him unresponsive.
Yeah, he was laying in bed, still on his side, had his cell phone up, just watching it. Like he was talking to his friends the night before. He was still in that same position. And I knew something was wrong. He looked really gray, and I walked over to him, and he was unresponsive. And of course, I screamed.
I came to the room immediately as I heard the horrific sound of Rhonda. She said, "Cruz is dead." And, there's a ton of things going through my mind in a split second. But as I was running upstairs to the room, I was calling 911, and there stood my wife and our then 15-year-old daughter, looking at Cruz crying. It was just a nightmare and a dream to me. I pulled him off the bed and administered CPR to him until the EMS and paramedics came. It was, I don't know if it seemed like a long time or a short time, but hour and a half or so later, they summoned Rhonda and I up and said, we apologize. Your son cannot be resuscitated, and he's gone.
The last time we ever saw him in his room, then they did sit down, and after they took him, they sat down and talked to us a little bit, what could have happened. I don't think that we exactly knew. I felt like I knew. I felt like it was a fentanyl poisoning because I had been watching it on the news so much. We saw it so often, almost every night on the news. We heard about fentanyl. I talked to Cruz about it because we had already known that he did have a drug problem with marijuana. And I said, Cruz, you got to stop this marijuana. And he's like, oh, well, if I can drink, I'll stop marijuana. We're like, no, you need to stop all drugs. You don't want to have an addiction. And I was like, Cruz, you have to promise us you will never do a pill. You cannot do a pill. It will kill you. That is what's happening right now. And he's like, well, I would never do a pill anyway. I just want to do my marijuana. We're like, no, we need to cut out everything. We're not doing any more illegal substances. And that was like right before Christmas. And it was a great month. His personality went back to normal on marijuana. He was very argumentative and was very hard to talk to about anything. He did stop the drug use for about a month over Christmas. It was the best time we had. And I think because we could smell the marijuana, he knew he couldn't do it like he was doing it. And I feel like maybe that's why he decided to try a Percocet instead.
Mm-hmm. Like most of us 15-year-olds do, we tend to experiment, and we think we're invincible when it comes to life. As Rhonda stated, we educated Cruz about what's happening across our country in regarding the fentanyl epidemic. We were very vocal with our children. However, in my head, and probably Rhonda's as well, is we always thought this could never happen to my child. We lived in a small town community of Lansing, Kansas. And in fact, I've never heard of a fentanyl death in our community until Cruz, and now it's spreading. Cruz, he decided to go on a social media platform, Snapchat, and it appears these days that drug dealers make their biggest sales regarding supply and demand on these social media devices, and they literally advertise what they have. Either weed, we have mollies, we have perk, we have numerous items. Cruz took a gamble on a school night when Ron and I were sleeping and exchanged probably $5 or $10 with a drug dealer who conveniently drove to our house and parked in the front yard as Cruz snuck out and made this drug deal, and went up to his room thinking that he was cool. He was a leader within his friend group, which we refer to as the pack, and he went on FaceTime with his iPhone, say, "Hey guys, look what I got. Watch me get high." He took the pill.
He snorted it.
Or
He
snorted
took about
it.
half the pill and ground it down and snorted it. We recently found out, just really a couple of months ago.
As he's FaceTiming with two of his closest friends, and they literally experienced him take the drug, stopped breathing, collapse, and became unresponsive and died. As any 15-year-old child would probably do. I've never was in that position. They were scared to death. They did not want to call Rhonda and I.
No.
Perhaps out of fear that they're going to get in trouble. So, those are messages that when Rhonda and I go out and speak and conduct a rally or do presentations, we want to tell these children, you're not going to get in trouble. If you know of a friend or a friend of a friend who's perhaps buying drugs or taking drugs, or if you know somebody who needs immediate attention, the law enforcement makes it very clear that child who is informing them will not get in trouble. But your voice matters. Kids, you've got to speak up, because if you don't, you can lose a friend or a friend of a friend, and your voice matters, and you have a means to saving one child's life.
Right. Now, these two boys, so they both had our numbers, but so that they didn't get in trouble, so they didn't get Cruz in trouble. And I think that they were more worried about getting Cruz in trouble. They texted his sister at 12:22 a.m. And of course, our daughter was asleep. She's not going to wake up to read a text. She's a very sound sleeper. So they did try and reach out. It just was the wrong way and to the wrong person. And we don't blame the boys. I mean, we still are in contact with them. We still like them in our lives. We want to see them grow up. They've been a part of our family for a long time. The boys who were online with Cruz at that time, FaceTiming him, and I think this is true of many people, they were unaware of fentanyl. I think when they told our daughter, hey, go check on him, it was more just to make sure he's doing okay. Not like, oh, I'm worried he's going to die. Because they had never heard of fentanyl. And many people in our community, and this was last January, this is not the case right now, which is a year later, January, that were very unaware of fentanyl. And we all know, like, oh, you have to be a major drug addict to actually overdose. You're not going to overdose on the very first pill you ever took. I mean, that doesn't really happen. Right? And in this case, a half of a pill. It wasn't a full pill. And it was just supposed to be a Percocet, which, you can get prescribed from a doctor. It wasn't supposed to be a laced pill. That wasn't really a Percocet.
We haven't tried to interrogate them. They're welcome to our house all the time. Mm-hmm. They come over very periodically and hang out, play pool, and lounge around as if Cruz was still around, just like they would pal around with him. And it's very nice and warming to know that.
Right.
But
they go up to his room, and a lot of times when they go to his room, you know, I mean, it's multiple boys that come over. It's just not those two, you know, so it's 4 to 6 boys or whatever come over, and they do like to say a prayer up in his room and talk to him.
I think that there's going to be a time when, as they grow and mature, and I'm certain there's a lot of guilt what had occurred that night, and by any means, Rhonda and I do not blame any of the boys, and I think there's going to be a time when they may approach us, maybe one of them, maybe two, and kind of lay it out what they were thinking that night as they were watching Cruz take this illicit pill containing fentanyl, and how they felt, and perhaps maybe some of Cruz's last discussions with them. And in my mind, it plays over and over again. I think that when he was taking the pill and all of a sudden he felt himself unable to breathe, that he looked up in the sky or up on his roof and just said, you know, Mom and Dad, you were right. And then he went up with Jesus in heaven. I mean, it's really a horrifying and hurtful feeling, but it's reality. But on a lighter side, Ron and I have turned this bad experience around, and we're doing as our previous discussion of what the Fathers of Fentanyl is doing in Texas. And, you know, although we don't reach to a national audience, we're able to connect and communicate with our local communities. There are several parents that you've met today and will meet tomorrow that we've all made this connection. They're very beautiful people, with the unfortunate events that we all have a very similar story of losing a child to this unnecessary epidemic that our country's going through. I had the good time meeting one of the founding fathers of Fathers for Fentanyl, Mr. Greg Swan, in D.C. when Rhonda and I went to the fentanyl rally, as well as the
national rally,
the DEA
family summit,
yes,
families against fentanyl.
And I'm really pleased of the support Greg and your entire board is able to do to communicate what our entire mission. Now we're all in this together, and every little bit that people can provide and communicate is gonna matter. You know, our voice matters. You know, like Greg and like several other parents, Rhonda and I have created a foundation called Cruz for Life. And with the donations that we receive, we're able to put up the billboards in our community that kind of spread awareness of fentanyl, along with the other local parents.
We do keep it local, more in the Leavenworth County area of Kansas. You know, we try and reach out to whoever wants to reach out. We're there and available to talk to them. We are planning a few more rallies coming up, or educational rallies, more like, you know, to hand out Narcan and to hand out the pamphlets that we've received, I think, from the KBI, right?
DEA.
From the DEA, and to make children aware of this epidemic. It's a pandemic, I think, of the United States, that we have so many fentanyl poisonings and that it's just increasing. The percent is increasing each year, and it should not be. I think it's because students haven't heard of it. You know, we need to get this back into our schools. We need a drug education program back into our schools. I know in Kansas, we do not have that. They hear very little about the drug crisis that's going on across our country. And that's one of our next steps that we would like to see where we could tackle that, who we can communicate with in the Kansas area to hopefully get a law put in place that the schools do need to give some drug awareness to these students. We know that there's 4 other states, inclusive of Texas, that they have already passed a bill to make sure that drug awareness is back in the schools.
If Ron and I had a chance to do this life over again, over a year ago, I think it would be monitoring the cell phone and social media use of crews. I as well, when asked, participate in the DEA's One Pill Can Kill program with the local narcotics captain and firemen, and we attend schools and such. During my presentation, I try to not only just educate the children, but as well as the parents. It's like we have to be vigilant. You need to understand what your children are looking at on social media. You got to understand that it's not their right to sit around on their phone all night, because that is the devil. And as well as we made a mistake by not having parental control over Cruz's phone. He changed his password on us. Big reason why it's still with the Kansas Bureau of Investigations. We know who the alleged drug dealer is. In fact, I'd bet on it. As his younger brother approached us the next day and said, I know who sold Cruz the pills, is my brother did.
His older brother.
But unfortunately, the local law enforcement or KBI will even investigate until they unlock Cruz's iPhone. But back to my original statement, I just want to let parents know you have to understand what your kids are doing. You are the parents. You're not the friend. If we have to take away their cell phone, take away their cell phone.
Right. And iPhones, their tech department, they're not going to help you get that iPhone open. And they're also not going to support you allowing parental controls to go on there. And, not even a month before this happened, we knew we had to start monitoring Cruz more on his cell phone. And we were trying to figure out, how can we get parental controls on here? What can we do? And we just couldn't.
Controls.
And of course, now it's too late to say, but I don't know why we didn't just take it away and get him an Android that would allow us to have those parental controls. I think he would still be alive. And I wish we would have stopped and made sure to take care of business. And we didn't, our life was going on. We both have full-time jobs. And so we just kind of did it slowly, where we should have just stopped for a day, 2 days, worked with Cruz, got the phone taken care of, put every measure in place to protect him. And you can't go back, and you should not think about that. And that's why when Cruz's friends' parents came to us, they put a GoFundMe page out there for Cruz, which I kept asking them, like, we don't want that. We don't need that. I wanted to stay in my little safe space. I just wanted to grieve by myself. But thank goodness they kept pushing us. And they're like, hey, we have this money. What are we going to do with it? What do you guys want to do with it? You can spend it on anything you want. If you want to buy him a gravestone, blah, blah. I'm like, well, no, we're okay. But so that's how we ended up coming up with setting up a foundation. And I do think it helped me, and it really greatly helped my husband to be able to focus on the next thing. Like, our son died, but we can't just wallow in it. What are we going to take away? And our takeaway was, we want to go save your son. We want to go save your daughter. Hear what we're saying. If you're having issues, please take the right steps. Don't try and do it over a month or 2 months. Take a day, 2 days off work. Get it all taken care of. Talk to your child. Get them in detox if that's where they need to go to. Get them an Android phone. Make sure that they can't take their location off. Make sure that you're hearing everything that they're doing.
I was listening to the Beatles a lot, and one line from Hey Jude, Paul McCartney's lyric reads, "Take a sad song and make it better." And that really resonated in me when God gave me a calling to stand up and take this bad experience and voice to other parents and children about our experience and what they could do to prevent another child's life to end because of this drug. And I think that together, Rhonda and I are making a difference, and we will continue to do so. This is our mission and our advocacy in life. Well, besides living, working, everything else we have, this is a big integral part of our life, is to spread the message, to attempt to save one child's life.
All of these people died of fentanyl. 32, 15, 16, 18, 17, 17, 35, 19, 19, 19. There's this thing called, we cannot change things out of our control, but we can, that is. We may not be able to get those doors closed, or even not even the doors closed. Like, I think they should be closed after all the deaths, but just shut down the lines of the fentanyl. And you're like, there's people out there that listen. There's not a person out there that is important enough with whatever they're going through that they have to have specifically fentanyl or opioids. I'm a walking miracle product to tell you right now that there is not a pain management that you need to be going through, including fentanyl. I've been through some hellacious amounts of pain and done it without any kind of pain medication. Okay? You don't need that fentanyl. You don't need that Percocet. You don't need that hydrocodone. You don't need any of those pain pills. You don't even need Tylenol or aspirin. At all. Period. Ladies and gentlemen, I shattered my hand, worked, and went to school for collision repair, where my final project was to paint a 57 Bonaire. It took 8 hours to paint that motherfucker, but I did it. And I learned how to use my left hand. So I know how to paint now ambidextrous because I broke my right hand at work. But I did it without any meds. None. And as a matter of fact, I feel like the healing process, though it was kind of difficult at times, listen, there were times where it hurt so bad I felt like passing the fuck out, dude. But I still made it through. Ice packs, heat packs. If you're in some kind of pain, there's a tea that you can drink that you'll wake up the next day. Okay? There's no amount of anxiety that you can't go into your cabinet, get you some chamomile. If you don't have chamomile, you can, listen, rosemary, thyme, your clove, those cinnamon, those things, you mix those with a warm cup of milk, that'll put you out if you're having a problem sleeping, and you'll get to wake up the next day. When it comes to our children, stop trying so fucking hard to be their friend. They have plenty of them. They need you to be their parent. They need you to stand up and say, hey, listen, drugs ain't the same as they were back when I was doing them. Listen, you could do all this shit in the fuck. You could pile up 100 fucking Percocets. It'd probably make you sick, but I mean, like, you didn't have to worry about nothing. You didn't have to worry about anybody putting anything in your fucking weed. Every once in a while, through the years, you hear somebody say something about embalming fluid. That was like a rare occasion that you ever heard somebody say that. Most of the time, you were like, man, that shit ain't real. Somebody's just full of shit. But these days, it's not like that. And it's taken people left and right who are naive to what the fuck is going on out there. Me being in recovery, I know what the fuck is out there. I know all that shit. Even being away from it for almost 10 years, I still know that the only difference is the drugs have changed, and it takes quicker to overdose. God damn, you couldn't pay me to go back out in that street. Hell no. Listen, I might get down on my knees crying, Daddy, please. But you'll never see me out in them streets again. You'll never see me out in them streets again. And I'm trying to help you, help me get these streets cleaned up so that there's no such thing as the streets. We can go into the subject of guns today, but we're going to stick with just the drugs right now. We need to shut down the production of the fentanyl and all of those pain medications, because I am here right now to let you know that there are other means of taking care of your pain besides all of those drug choices. There's hypnosis. There's different forms of therapy that you can go through where you don't have to have surgery to fix an ailment. There are different forms of energy healing that you can do, herbal things, tinctures that you can rub stuff on that will keep you alive. In fact, they will not only keep you alive, they will not only repair the damage, but they will start to begin making you feel better than you ever have before. Help me shut these pharmacies down completely, because they are no good for you, they are no good for me, and they are no good for our future. Help me help you, help these children see that they don't need those things. They have more inside of them than we had. Use it. Own it. Be it. Teach your kids from a young, early age yoga, exercise, meditation, breathing, mannerisms. Get them into reading books about learning how to work with others. Listen, you cannot tell me, I don't care, well, my daughter's only 3 or 4 years old. I don't care. Do you know in China, there are kids at 5 years old that know 2 or 3 languages already? Blow that numbers thing out your ass when it comes to what you can do with your child at a young age if you're willing to work with them. They must have time to play. First and foremost, they are children. Don't forget that. Whatever you do, don't forget. You as a grown adult need your playtime. Now imagine if you were fresh on this realm as a child, your eyes wide open and needing direction they can count on. Supplied by many, because no one person can raise a child. I don't care who you are or how good you think you are. No one person raises a child. It takes the whole goddamn world to raise each and every one of us. And no matter how old you are, you're somebody's child. Somebody loves you. Somebody's worried about you. And somebody wants what's best for you. Part of that is to get these drugs off the street. I'm working on my language skills too. We'll get there together. 1745. We have to fix what we broke. It's not a one-person fix. We have to work on all of this together. And somehow along the way, we let too many things slide to open wide a beret of loss we were not expecting. And it's really time, especially this Memorial Day weekend. I decided I'm going to go ahead and post a video a couple times a day of somebody who's overdosed. And we will talk about those different drugs. It will be of somebody, a different drug, an alcohol, and we'll go from there. That's how we're going to spend Memorial Day. If you or someone you know is having issues, there is help out there. You saw what they showed you, and I'm going to show you some more stuff here in a minute. Get your pen and papers out. And if you need just to be able to talk to somebody, you can call me. My information is in the description box. It's okay. You're not a bad person because you chose to do drugs or drink, or when you chose to do it, it got out of hand. Everybody thinks they have control at the beginning. You're not the only one who flubbered up. I did too. Remember, I'm 7 years sober. And the first time I ever took a pill, my DOC, my doctor gave it to me. The last time, not so. But now, yeah, the last pill I took was prescribed to me, but it wasn't a pain pill. It was actually my ADHD medicine, and I stopped taking it too. I've been off of it too. So, yeah, I'm still working on figuring out how to get that, but I can tell you that I'm off all stimulants. I do smoke weed. I'm working on that, because it's not safe anymore, which is really sad. But I think that if we just shut down the fentanyl, and because marijuana does provide some stuff, but out of hand, it can cause issues, and it is a stimulant, and just as coffee or other things, they can cause issues, but you won't die from them. You're not gonna die because you smoke weed. You're not gonna die because you drink coffee. You're not gonna die because you eat eggs. They're just things that you should probably work on moderation. And try to eliminate. Attachment is detachment. When you are attached to something that causes you to make decisions about something that might deplete your happiness, because of that is an addiction, that is also a detachment. It detaches you from spirit. It detaches you from a dream, achievement. It detaches you from an activity that you should be doing instead. So, just like me being a weed smoker, this is one reason why I'm shifting, is because me being a weed smoker, it prevents me from being able to move to some states that I think I would love living in, but you can't smoke weed in. And I'm not trying to get in trouble, and I know that there are things out there that happen to me. I do have anxiety. I do use it medicinally. I do have back pain. But I also know on this journey, once I reach a certain level, I'm really not going to have that anxiety anymore. I'm not going to have that back pain. I'm not going to need that weed to assist me while I reach my destiny. Weed is medicinal. it is also recreational. How you use it can make a difference in your journey. There are other herbs out there that are like that, but for me, once you smoke weed, there's just nothing else that can come through. Like I've tried the other stuff, but for me, it's once you smoke weed, like that's it. Like, but if you've never smoked weed, don't. Because if you've never smoked weed, you don't have to worry about having something that intense to stimulate the excess. Without weed, I don't eat. Without weed, I'm on cloud 1,003, 5, 7, and 9. And I can't figure I'm like spinning all a listen. I'm a tornado, a hurricane, and a run and roar all at the same time, dude. For real. So, well, I'm trying to figure out how to directionally fly. I smoke my weed. And while I still feel like I need to eat, I'm supposed to smoke my weed. But if you've never smoked weed, chamomile is very good. Lavender is another one that you can. Have you ever had lavender milk? It Get you some lavender tea bags. And well, I mean, you can put the lavender tea bag in the milk, or you can put it a little bit in the water and mix it water and milk at it just be the milk in your tea. But it's really good. It's really good. And put a little honey in it. Um, Try to stay away from sugar as well, especially if you're trying to come off of drugs. Stay away from sugar. Your digestive system is ugh, okay. So you want to stay away from sugar because sugar will like, I don't know how to explain it, but stay away from the sugar. Stay away from the sugar. Find other stuff to spend your time on than eating. Find a craft to do instead of picking up food to eat. And if you do pick up food, make it be snacky food, good for you food, protein, 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 protein. Okay? Protein. Find things to do with your time. For my babies out here, as I showed you guys, especially for Reese's birthday, I showed you guys things that you guys could be doing together for fun. I've showed you guys different ways that you can use spiritualism as a way to get together and socialize. When I was in high school, for my babies out here, and when I say my babies, I mean my teenagers, my young my the kids out here. I don't care if we're blood or not. You're my kids. Fuck. Anyway, listen. You can have fun spiritually. When I was in high school, the crew that I hung out with, right before prom, we had Bible study. We got together for Bible studies. So you can get together for Reiki and light healing and tarot cards and stones and mining stones. Have you ever gone mining for stones that you can go and sell to other people and make money to go find more stones? Wouldn't it be cool to find a diamond yourself and then put it into a ring? Or an emerald? Or a ruby? You can do that stuff. And if you're not out fucking around doing drugs, then you can use that money to fund the trip for that. I'm just saying. There's other things that you can be doing. And that stuff that you can pick out, you don't have to sell it. You can keep it for yourself. You can make stuff out of it. You can have it as a decoration in your house or somebody else's house. It provides you an energy. Every stone is a different energy, and it's always a good one. You're not you like there's not a stone that you can pick up that's gonna hurt you, man. I mean, a meteorite, but I mean, how common is somebody gonna walk up to a fucking burning hot meteorite and say, "Let me see if it's gonna burn me"? If you pick that thing up and it's still hot and burning, and you think it's not gonna burn you, you can't fix stupid. I mean, and then you think some people were born with common sense and others have to be taught it. If you see something red, usually you need to stop, drop, and roll. Just putting it out there. In case, when God was pouring your cup, he forgot to put the common sense in there. Red is a caution. when you see red, you need to be cautioned. Listen, I love everybody. I do. Now let's get back to these babies. It is Memorial Day weekend. We want to be able to provide them with a weekend where they don't feel like they need to do any of those substances. We want to provide them with opportunities where they feel like they've got cool parents too. Okay? So, we also, if these kids are listening to this right now, we want you to be the leaders in shifting the vibration and more kids living out their life completely. Nobody dying. Wouldn't you like to be the next graduating class that everybody's still alive? And the next 10-year reunion where everybody's still alive? Because I didn't get that opportunity. And I know that for my generation, the one before mine, and the one right now, it's not happening like that. And it's causing a lot of heartache. But we can prevent that by changing the direction that we're moving in. So I'm asking you guys to please help me lead this nation into better days where our kids are not led astray. They get to go wherever they want to go. We don't have to worry about where they're going, who they're going with, and what they're doing, because the only thing available is stuff that won't hurt them. We can get to that level. We are working towards that level. And the more of us that stand out and stand together and genuinely work on that subject, the more we're going to get where we're trying to go. First thing is first, shut down the lines to the opioids. It has done nothing but harm people since it began. Go back to the herbs. If you want to continue making money, then consciously, truthfully produce herbs in pill form, in tea form, in liquid form. Be honest, because if you're not honest, your shit will go debunk. Don't poison people anymore. That's sick. Like, could you imagine? Like, we're all in turmoil now because a lot of people that chose to get up there chose to make bad decisions on how to get up there. Now imagine if we switch that shit and we make the right decisions. We put God in it and we carry through with what we know morally we're supposed to be doing, what God's going to enlighten us with. I mean, look at what we've gotten out of us behaving like banshees. Now, imagine if we straighten our crowns up and we actually start behaving like we care about something. All of us. Imagine. Imagine that. Listen, I'm just saying. Now, I'm going to pull up a few things for you guys to notice. All right. For the parents out here who want to keep this stuff at home and you want to try and work on this at home, this is what I need you to do. I need you to pay attention to these signs. Here are some potential signs that a child may be using opioids or other drugs. Physical signs: constricted or pinpoint pupils, slurred speech, poor coordination, drowsiness, nodding off, lack of motivation and energy, weight loss or gain, red or flushed cheeks, runny nose or nose sores, needle marks on arms. Behavioral changes: sudden change in friends being secretive about who they hang out with, dramatic mood swings, personality changes, hostile, angry, or uncooperative behavior, lying, being deceitful, or making excessive excuses, decreased motivation for school, work, or other activities, cash flow problems or stealing money or items, frequently breaking curfew or disappearing for long periods. Other signs: smell of smoke or unusual odors on clothes or breath, bloodshot or glazed eyes, poor hygiene or messy appearance, finding drug paraphernalia like pipes, needles, fake containers, frequent nausea, vomiting, or constipation, changes in sleeping patterns. I'm going to go back on this part. If you or someone you know is having issues, especially with pills, please say something, do something, intervene this issue. Here are some helpful resources for parents of teens struggling with drug addiction. Resources from Rose Cranes. Advice on speaking with your teens about addiction and mental health issues. Encouragement to seek treatment if needed. Resources to help guide discussions about substance abuse. Resources from Partnership for Drug-Free America. Drug abuse prevention, intervention, treatment, and recovery resources. Parent blog on raising healthy teens. Guide on legal and illegal drugs to keep teens safe. Intervention ebook with advice on what to do if your child is using drugs. Text messaging support for concerns about teen substance use. One-to-one helpline to connect parents with individualized resources. Resources from American Academy in Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. Information on signs, risks, and consequences of teen substance abuse. Database to find treatment facilities. Educational materials on prevention and evidence-based treatments. Books like Your Child and Your Adolescent with guidance for parents. Resources for Get Smart About Drugs. Treatment options specifically for teen addiction. Support groups like Alateen for teens impacted by addiction. Resources from SAMHSA, fact sheet on myths versus facts about underage drinking, tips series educating teens on dangers of various drugs, guide for families on what substance abuse treatment involves. The key resources highlighted include helplines, guides or on intervention, factual drug education, materials, and tools to find professional treatment options tailored for your adolescent struggling with addiction. Early intervention and open discussions are emphasized. Parents, I can't emphasize this more now than any other moment. I will continue to emphasize it stronger and stronger every day. You cannot attack your child if they are having an issue with a drug. I don't care how old that child is. I don't care how young that child is. You, as a parent, need not go to your child like a bear and expect them to process any information you're trying to give them. In the moment of you living your life, something happened. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. Life happened. Now it's time for you to get a hold of it. Don't go into this being an angry banshee because your kid happens to be on that list of kids that tried something. Listen, I'm gonna say about 90% of parents out there throughout all of history have kids that tried something. Actually, 100% probably. Because listen, even the ones that don't say nothing, they've tried something that they knew they weren't supposed to be trying, and that's trying something. So listen, it's okay. That's what life is supposed to be doing. Giving you opportunities to try something. That is life. But right now, we have an issue that is literally taking our future away right in front of our eyes. And people are being too stagnant about it and nonchalant, not realizing that 20 years from now, when there's nobody to carry on the world because everybody died from fentanyl poisoning, like seriously, folks, let's get this together. It's not a blame game. It's not a let's hate this person thing. There are things that need to happen. And the pharmaceutical companies, knowing that you're killing people out there, don't give me that BS about, oh, well, it's all because these people aren't using it properly. If you don't have it out there, they can't misuse it. Period. So I am holding you responsible. If you didn't lie to people about what it entailed, what it could provide, let me tell you something else. I am that person that can prove to you I walk better, talk better, feel better, do better, and am better since I quit doing pills. And there was a time where I felt like I couldn't get out of the bed because I was hurting so bad. My pain levels have decreased since I took pills, since I quit taking pills. Like, I can rub a salve. Yesterday, for the first time in probably 2 months, I rubbed some marijuana CBD salve on my back. I learned how to manage my pain without the medication. I have also a back that is, the discs are completely deteriorated except for L5, S1, L5, S7, right there where they connect the, anyway, that's 2 fake discs, a plate, and 2 pins. I have sciatica, and my hip is also degenerative. Every day for 7 years, I have lived without pain medication. Yes, I do smoke weed. but I do not take any kind of drugs for my pain. You can do the same, and nobody dies. When it comes to the high, I have been able to get more high off of the stuff I've learned how to do since I quit getting high than I ever did getting high. I've learned how to weld. I've learned how to build a car outside of the motor. I've learned insurance. I've learned real estate. I've traveled the country, all except for Alaska, Puerto Rico, and there's South Dakota, North Dakota. No, I've been to North Dakota. No, I've been to South Dakota. I haven't been to North Dakota. I've been able to literally travel from one end to the other end of both A1As. There's an A1A on each side of the country, and they go from the top to the bottom of the country. And I've been able to do that on both sides of the country since I got sober. When you are intoxicated, your life is limited. Don't let the hype fool you. Those drugs are addictive, and they will prevent you from succeeding at any dream that you have in your mind to achieve. Being clean is the best way to be. If you have that opportunity to never touch drugs again, do it. If you have that opportunity to never touch drugs and find alternative methods, do it. If you have people that you love that have chosen the drugs, help them through it. I love you guys very much. I'm going to get off here now and spend my days. All right, please help somebody today learn how to manage whatever it is they're using drugs to manage in another way. Love, light, life, kisses, and blessings, y'all.